Y'all already know I'm here. Y'all already know what we about to do. Y'all saw the reunion. I'm here. We're gonna talk about it. I feel like a lot, but a little. I feel like I have a lot to say. Now, I didn't learn much necessarily, but I feel like I have a lot to say. There are certain people, baby, that need to come to the front of the room, that need to stay with me after class. Huda, I'm gonna need you to stay after class, girl. Because what will we doing? Let's jump into this reunion. Let's do it.
I'm excited to see everybody. A lot of people had a lot of opinions.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and I feel like it's been a minute since I have talked about Love Island. It has been a minute. I needed a little break from the show. As a lot of the cast members discussed, I feel like there was a lot going on, and even content creators and people who talk about Love Island were getting a lot of smoke, a lot of heat. A lot of people were getting doxxed and all kind of crazy stuff. And I was like, I am stepping out of the ring, because at the end of the day, it is still a television show. And I want to preface this by saying, this is a TV show, guys. It is okay if my opinion is different than yours. It is okay if we don't see eye to eye on things. I do not know any of these people in real life. I have never spoken to any of them. These people are not my friends. They are not my family. So at the end of the day, it is a show. I am commenting based on the edited show and the content that has been put out on the internet, on a public forum. I really want to start there. I want this video to be pleasant. This will be my last Love Island season 7 video. I will not be talking about this show after today. So everything that I got, all of my final thoughts, all of the things I've been hearing over the past month before this reunion, we're going to talk about it today. And then we are going to move onwards. Now, I know they announced that Love Island Games is coming in 3 weeks. TBD on if I will be able to recap that. If you have not been keeping up with my community posts, or you haven't been watching my Big Brother content, then you might not know, but I have had a series of brain operations, and I actually have 2 more, with the last one probably correlating with the week or around the week that Love Island Games is supposed to drop. So I will have to see. I will let you guys know, and I'll keep you posted if I can upload that, or if I can recap that, let's say that. But we shall see. Anyways, let's jump into this reunion. And of course, please support the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. Let's jump in. And if y'all see me looking down, I got my notes, because I'm not even going to try to pretend like I'm going to remember every little piece off the top of my head. So we start this reunion off. We see everybody walking in. Everybody's giving their little quips, their little one-liners, their little everything. I thought pretty much everyone looked fabulous. I was not feeling the guys that were wearing suits with no shirt underneath. I think Jeremiah and Nick both had that kind of fit on. I was not feeling that. But for the most part, everybody else I thought looked really nice. I liked how all of the girls looked. I'm not going to do a fit check on every single person, but you know. I thought they looked cute. Shelly and Alandria looked fabulous. And that's all I got. So Andy and Ariana are our hosts, and I just really want to take a minute, because I feel like bringing Andy into this reunion was chef's kiss. Like, I literally feel like last year, and look, I like PPG. I like PPG. I love them down. But I feel like they ran all over Ariana last year. I do not know that Ariana knew how to really maintain a stage, and having all of those people on and trying to control them. I just feel like Ariana did not know how to do it. So having Andy was great, especially considering there was a point where there was 20 plus people on that stage. I think Andy did a good job at pushing. I think Andy did a good job of asking about certain things. And while we didn't get everything, I do think that Andy is a welcome addition. And hopefully Ariana can learn a few tips and a few tricks from Andy himself. So we start off with our final four on stage, and off the get. Huda, Chris, two opposite sides of the couch.
On that, and we just like grow from there.
And we were all together in a house for a week after the villa, so like we all got
that was
to.
pretty cute.
Nowhere to be seen. All of the other couples are sitting together, but those two automatically not together. They bring it up at one point and ask, what is this? Why are you guys like this? Huda, it's like, it's all fine. It's all good. Chris is like, I'm not fine. I'm not gonna lie, for me, this is really awkward. And Huda really tried to do this thing over the course of the entire reunion where I feel like she was trying to be like, everything's cool. I grew from this. I have no issues. But yet she was in those interviews talking a lot of mess and allowing her fans to run rampant and talk a lot of mess. And this is addressed later, so I'm going to give my thoughts further later. But I just really do not like people that do that in general. I really don't like people that are like that, where to people's face, they want to act all scared. They want to pretend like they have nothing to say, but yet they are the biggest instigators and mess makers. And I felt like Huda was definitely like that. But we get into our little check-ins with the final four. First up is Amaya and Brian.
Cheating, partying with other girls. We know the internet had a lot of opinions, but walk us through.
And as we currently know, Amaya and Brian, they no longer follow each other. Neither one of them has made a statement yet, but it is probably safe to say the two of them are not on good terms. Now, they talk about how there was a little bit of an incident where basically Brian was at a bar, some videos were out, he was pouring shots in people's mouths and all kinds of things. And his explanation was he used to be a bartender, he had a lapse of judgment, he made a mistake. But Amaya, she's basically like, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't be with somebody who I don't feel like has the best for me or wants the best for me. So the two of us talked it out. We're all good, but at the end of the day, I feel like it was no big deal anyway. I feel like I was pretty much fine with it. I don't know. I just felt like Amaya was very like, yeah, it was cool. He just made a little mistake. But to me, I was just like, I don't know about that. And I don't know. It's also weird because the two of them are not that far away. New York and Boston, baby, you could take that Amtrak, Acela train and get there in 2.5, 3 hours. It's not that far. So I found it to be very strange. And obviously, knowing what we know now that they're likely not together, I assume things just really didn't work out. As I thought about Brian and Amaya more over this past month, I'm a little sus on Brian. I'm a little sus on Brian personally. I just kind of look at his behavior, his demeanor, obviously the things we've seen, and it was just kind of given that Brian was trying to have fun in a way that I feel like Amaya was definitely taking this way more seriously personally. We move on to Pepe and Iris.
It's like, you're pretty much boyfriend and girlfriend, and Iris looks at it as...
I think you have to ask someone to be your girlfriend,
Yeah. For
you know?
Yeah.
And we touch a little bit on that Pepe and Iris TikTok that was going around where the two of them were hugging, or TJ and Iris, excuse me. And she says it was nice to meet back up with TJ, but at the end of the day, her heart is with Pepe. Now, they do confirm that they are exclusive. However, they have sort of different viewpoints about what exclusivity exactly means. For Iris, she's the kind of person where being exclusive kind of isn't really a thing for her. She's more like, I'm either your girl or not. Ask me out if you want to be with me. Otherwise, I'm not too sure. Whereas Pepe is more like, well, if we're exclusive, and I don't have to ask you. Now, and maybe it's just because I'm a lover girl. I was on Iris's side with that. I have specifically been in situations, just two, but I've been in two situations where it was very weird, where they wanted to be in this sort of gray area where we were exclusive, but they never wanted to confirm exactly what the status of things is. And that's not to say that in the future it may have not have happened or it might happen, but I just feel like people who cannot be definitive about something like that, to me, it means that they're not that serious about it yet. Now, in the case of Pepe and Iris, obviously their relationship has been very short. They only had a couple of weeks together. I'm not expecting them to be full-blown boyfriend and girlfriend. I think right now being exclusive is fine, but let's say 6 months pass, a year passes, and it's just, I want to be exclusive. At least to me, that would be kind of a red flag. But other than that, the two of them, they seem to be doing okay. They seem to still be pretty happy. Then we get on to Hurricane Huda and Chris.
What do you mean by that?
Honestly, I'm not angry about it. It's just like, we just weren't a good match. It's okay.
And Andy automatically is like, well, I see you guys are separated, so what's going on there? And as I said, Huda tries to act like everything's cool. Chris is like, And Andy even asks about Chris's mom and how she feels, and Chris is like, nope, my mom doesn't like this either. Nobody really likes this in my life. So for Chris, he's not feeling the best because Huda was up in the podcast. And again, Huda has been very active on these podcasts. And she was saying certain comments like, oh, Chris has a wandering eye. Chris wasn't really authentic, yada, 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 those kind of comments. So for Chris, he wasn't really feeling that. And then there was a lot of time that passed, and around 2 or 3 days before the reunion, then he decided she wanted to apologize to him. And Chris just wasn't feeling that. He was like, I know what this is for. I know exactly why she's apologizing. So I feel like I don't really want to do the mess. And you know what? I respect it. I totally respect it. I think that Huda is the kind of person where you can't win with her. Because she starts crying and she's always in the right and she's always evolved and she's always changed. I mean, literally, if you took a shot every time this reunion that Huda claimed that she improved herself, she changed, she's had a lot of growth since the show ended. Even Andy was like, so in 1 month, you have become a totally different person later in the reunion. And Huda's like, well, I mean, it was heightened emotions and da-da-da-da-da. It's just a lot. So I don't even mind Chris being like, I'm not even trying to be like, I'm just trying to be on my own side. I don't want to hear it from her. And I feel like Chris is not the only person on this reunion that is straight up like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to hear Huda's apology. And again, people like Huda to me are the most irritating, people that have a lot to say and do the most. And then they want to apologize and not change the behavior. And they expect everyone to accept their apology, but yet they never have grace for other people. Yeah. So they do ask Huda about her relationship status because obviously she's been seen with Louis, supposedly they're dating, and Huda decides she gonna lie and be like, I can't, it's Netflix. And Andy's like, so you cannot confirm or deny whether or not you are in a relationship? She's like, I can't, I really can't, I'm sorry, I can't. Obviously, she was lying. Ricky and Ashley, they're on their podcast, they talked about it. And it was just so obvious. The minute she said that, I'm like, girl, you're under an NDA with Netflix. Make it make sense, Huda. Huda has since commented on her story. I'll post it here if I can find it again. But she has since posted on her story that she actually just didn't want to talk about her relationship status at the moment. And that's why she said it. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Why are you allowed to lie to everyone? To just lie like it is absolutely nothing. And then you expect that everyone in the world is supposed to have grace and forgiveness for you. You literally lied on stage and said that you had an NDA with Netflix. It just don't make no sense. But our true winners, Nick and Alandria, they also have their little update.
Pressure and like up to this moment, I know people are expecting us to be like labeled by now. And I also see comments, it's like, she better come like pregnant and married.
And Nick is basically talking about how they're trying to take it slow. People have been making sort of comments about, oh my goodness, she better be married and pregnant by the time they get to the reunion. And instead, they're just trying to have fun and enjoy themselves. They've been traveling. We've all seen they went to Greece. They had some other vacations that have been everywhere. And Nick basically says that he wants to give Alandria everything that she would ever want to do. The two of them are not currently putting a title on where they are at right now. They just want to get to explore each other. And again, I'm fine with that. Nick and Alandria, one thing about this whole season, including Nick and Alandria, is that most of these couples, they all started in the latter half of the season. It's not even like they had the full 6 weeks or 5 weeks of getting to know each other. So you get out and your boyfriend, girlfriend. Most of these people had 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks max. So I understand. And for this season, I totally respect and understand that nobody really wants to put titles on it yet. I don't think that that is a problem. And I love to hear it for Nick and Alandria. I love that they are just having fun and enjoying each other. And you know what? I really want them to take it at the pace that they want to take it at. I really love that. I don't want to hear the pressure of everybody wanting them to lock in and do this and do that. It's like, no, get to know each other. And as I've always said with Nick and Alandria, if it works, I am so happy for them. If it doesn't, that is also okay. Because we're all adults and sometimes things just don't work out. So I love to hear that from them. Of course, like I said, I've been seeing their little travel pics. They look like they are having the time of their life. And I am so jealous because I can't travel this year because I am sick. So, love that for them. So Clark and Taylor and Shelly and Ace come out and they discuss a little bit about the two of them getting voted out because they got voted out essentially because they were in couples. As I said, this cast, they made up their complete and total own rules for Love Island this year. Apparently being in a couple was grounds to get voted out. And Shelly does say they lost the plot, which I totally agree with. Now, we do get on to Alandria and Taylor.
Okay, X, all right. X is crazy.
Right.
No, I mean, Taylor and I have been best friends since day one.
And basically, there was a lot of questions about Taylor and whether or not he was genuine about Alandria, whether he ever liked her or not. And for Alandria, she was under the impression that Taylor was into her. She was under the impression that he was trying. But then it hurt to see after the show that all these conversations happened and he was basically saying, oh, I'm not even really feeling her like that. I'm not really into her like that. And Alandria essentially says she's not desperate. She wouldn't have gone so hard if she had known that Taylor wasn't feeling it in the first place. Taylor just says, well, at least I tried, basically. At least I gave it a chance. And it just didn't really happen. And I think that's just definitely something important to keep in mind, that there are so many conversations that happen on this show that people simply don't see. We as viewers see a lot, but even Alandria, I understand and I totally get the fact that she literally did not know that Taylor was telling other people, I'm not really into her, or I'm not sure if I'm feeling her. I'm trying to make it happen. I'm trying to see if the attraction is there. And I think even sometimes as a reviewer, we forget those things. So overall, though, the two of them are cool. He does apologize, Taylor, to Alandria, and he says, you still my dog. And I was like, oh, okay. Then Shelly and Ace, of course, Andy has to ask, what is the tea on y'all knowing each other prior to the show?
In New York, I met her. I thought she was attractive. I pulled up on her and said, yo, what's the word?
Ace explains again that they met in New York and that essentially they talked, they chopped it up, they got each other's IGs. And then after that, they really only communicated, and not even really communicated, more so Ace was liking Shelly's pictures on Instagram after that. They never saw each other again. They never talked. There was no orchestration of getting on the show together, yada, yada, yada. Now, Andy pushes even harder and is like, but some eagle-eyed sleuths have seen that you liked pictures all the way from July of 2022. And I guess the answer is that Ace just went back and liked her pictures. At least that's what we stuck with. Now, they do talk about the Burst Your Bubble challenge, where Ace and Shelly were voted really, really low. And Alandria does step up and speak up for them, and essentially is like, I don't really know the reason why they would be voted so low, because Ace is not an instigator, he's not this ringleader, and Shelly is not a mean girl. I don't hang out with fake people, and I don't really get the reason why people felt that way. Okay, now, I agree on Shelly. Ace, I do feel like he was in a little instigator group. Do I think Ace was the only instigator? Do I think that Ace is the only person who should have gotten any kind of flack for being an instigator? I do not. But I do think that there was a little group there, and I feel like Ace tries to clear his name quite a bit. We even get a few Ace fake tears. We do, where Ace is like, how can I command all these grown men? I'm just one guy, and I'm not going to be commanding all these grown men to do. And I'm like, Ace, stop it. You know your mouth was one of the biggest in that villa. But I definitely do not think that Shelly, Ace are anywhere near the worst people we've ever seen on Love Island or on these reality shows. And I definitely don't think that they should be the only couple getting hate. I don't think that Ace should be out here getting an inbox full of hate. Shelly should not be out here getting an inbox full of hate, while you have someone like Huda who has everybody going to bat for her, acting like all of the black folks are big bad bullies towards her. No. I don't rock with that. So Austin, Andreina, TJ, Coco, and basically all of the other cast of people, they do come out. They start to talk a little bit about Austin and his body count and how he's subtracting people from his body count. Austin, he was in his own world during this. I don't even know. Austin did not want to be here, and he had nothing to say. But we start to get into Coco, and Coco has been another big mouth on the internet.
Understandable.
Alandria, what's your reaction to this?
I was standoffish. I'm not finna come in being fake and trying to purposely be besties with these girls that I don't know. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be.
I feel like Coco is one of those people where, girl, you didn't have to do all of this. You could have just kept it quiet and it would have been fine. But for whatever reason, Coco, I feel like needed her few minutes of fame. So Coco was on live or on a podcast or whatever, and she was basically getting into how she felt like Alandria was a little bit standoffish when she returned to Casa Amor. And Coco tries to clarify and be like, I mean, but what I thought you meant, what I meant was that, like, I just didn't feel like you would want to, like, talk to us because you didn't know us like that. We just had met each other. And Alandria's like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I just got fake dumped from the villa. Then I have to come back. Then I have to see Taylor still being with somebody. And overall, for me, it just felt like a lot. So I'm sorry. I really didn't want to be besties with you guys right now. I just wanted to be with my girls, and I respect that. I totally respect that. Coco tries to act like she didn't mean it like that. And I'm like, come on. Again, this is the stuff that is so irritating to me. It's just like, stand on business. Y'all swear, y'all keep saying stand on business every 30 seconds, but every single time y'all get called out, it's, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it on that. Now they continue because Coco was making comments, apparently calling Taylor her man. And again, Coco basically tries to clarify by being like, well, when I said my man, I just meant that I thought you two were locked in. So when I was talking about it, I was just shocked that Taylor had actually picked somebody else because I thought you two were locked in. And I was like, Coco, girl, please. Coco, you are too pretty to be doing all of this because it makes no sense. What you are saying actually makes zero sense. You got caught up. You were talking mess. Again, you were trying to get your 10 seconds of fame, and it just looks crazy at the end of the day. But again, Coco, in typical fashion of everybody on this reunion who was wrong, gives her little apology, and Alandria's like, oh, okay, thanks. Next. But Shelley does use this as an opportunity to bring up how there has been a narrative spread about Alandria and herself. And
No, I want to talk.
Okay.
I'm Team Chocolate Girls. I'm never shady. I was nothing but nice to y'all from the beginning. I was happy for you. Also, I DM'd you, Alandria.
how they are bullies, how they've been so mean to everybody, how various different people have been going onto podcasts and trying to paint them out to be these people. And you know what? I think this is a very important conversation because I do think that it is so easy for people to assume that a Black woman is nasty. I think it is so easy for people to listen and interpret everything and paint their own narratives of people in a certain way. Today I got an Alandria TikTok and it was just Huda stands left and right talking about how Alandria's mean, Alandria's nasty, Huda's got this many followers, you're so nasty to her, how could you be that way to her on the reunion? And I'm like, wow, that is shameful. That is shameful. And we touch on later the fact that Huda did not do anything to combat a lot of this hate that is still, I saw this hate on Alandria's post today, meaning there has still been no way to fix this. And I do think that as Black women, there is this very thin line of, well, that person's nasty. And oh my goodness, yeah, she's mean. And oh my God, she's horrible. And I do feel deeply for Alandria and Shelley because I have seen the hate. I have seen the narratives. And there is no nuance. There is no gray area. There's no, well, let me hear their side of the story. It's automatically, no, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to believe that. And I'm going to pile on that. And that is just an awful space to be in. Coco does claim that she tried to DM Alandria, and Alandria does admit, like, look, I'll be honest, I didn't respond to it. I didn't want to hear it because you want to squash things in private, why not squash it up front since you said the comments in public? And I agree. I don't want to hear all this, oh my goodness, I'm going to send you a DM, but then still continue to let the narrative run. Any Black woman that is in the public eye in any capacity, like I'm a YouTuber, right? I don't even have a tenth of the fame that these people have. And I still have so many narratives ran about me on this platform for being a Black woman. And about my attitude and about my demeanor and about this and about that. So I can only imagine the scale. And then it does not help when you have people and they know what they're doing. I feel like that's the thing. They know what they're doing. Anybody that's going on these podcasts talking about these women, they know what they're doing. I don't know. Then apparently Vanna went on Nick Viall and she was making comments about Shelley and Alandria being standoffish to come to admit they didn't even know each other. They barely even talked. They literally did not even have conversations together. But Vanna claims that she did clear that up on live and everything is fine. And again, why are we making comments like that in the first place? Why are you calling Shelley and Alandria standoffish? When genuinely neither one of them was standoffish during the season to people. And of course, the biggest and the baddest bully of them all, Huda, is mentioned, and Alandria was very hurt about the comments that Huda was making on the podcast that she was on, especially considering that they were supposedly friends. We take a little intermission before we dive in deeper to the racism of it all. And we talk a little bit about Amaya and Zach and that situation there. Apparently Brian claims, that Zach said on live that he did it for the money. He's like, I don't remember that. I don't know about all that, But Brian's like, you better check on that. And essentially Brian tries to say, and some of the other Casa boys try to say that Zach was actually the one that was trying to dissect the game the whole time, that he was talking about the money, that he really only wanted to have conversations with people when it was the time to. And we saw that. I feel like we saw that on the show, that Zach really wasn't having conversations with the girls at all. So I believe that. There was definitely a switch up there. They also talk a little bit about Austin and Jaden. The long short of it is that Jaden was cool with Austin talking to anyone, even sleeping with other people, but all she wanted to know is if he was doing it. Just let her know. He didn't do that. So essentially the two of them are no longer a thing. Austin tries to kind of pretend like he has no idea what he's doing. I don't care enough about this couple to go in deep, but that's essentially what happened between the two of them. So they are no longer a thing. Then we go into the Huda, Chris, and Shelly situation.
I'm so happy for you. Like, you have both these guys here and you get to explore them and I get to explore them too. And it's like, that's what my frustration was just keep pushing this narrative of like, I'm doing this for you. I didn't.
And we get an extended scene. I guess this scene was supposed to prove that Huda and Shelly had a conversation prior to Huda bringing back Chris for Shelly, as she claimed. So we do see this extended scene, and it does appear in the scene that Huda is letting her know that. However, there was one little line I heard in the scene that showed me, and I think that kind of disproves basically everything she said. Huda says, I'm gonna be honest. I know you're probably not gonna want me to do this. And even if you don't want me to do it, basically, I'm gonna do it anyway. Meaning, even if you don't want me to bring back Chris for you, I'm going to bring back Chris for you. At the end of the day, we can talk about this conversation until we turn blue. Shelly's like, well, yeah, but then we had other conversations where it kind of felt like it was a different tone. And to be honest with you, like, Huda, you brought the guy back because you liked him. That's it. That's the point blank period. You brought the guy back because you liked him. Shelly does say that Ace was always her number one. So to me, I don't even understand why this has blown up to the proportions that it has blown up to. Because again, you brought the guy back because you liked him, Huda. I just don't know why this is such a big back and forth and why this is even a point of contention when it is so obvious in everything we hear that you didn't bring someone back specifically for her. And again, I think the annoying thing about Huda is that Huda acts like she's this noble, caring, empathetic. All she does is put her heart on her sleeve for everybody else. And it's like, girl, you're not like that. You are not like that. Everything that Huda says out loud is well meant, with well intent. But yet somehow, some way, it's always looking like you're doing something shady. So Jeremiah and Bella, they finally come out and we get some more conversation about Jeremiah and his quote unquote love bombing.
To some capacity, yes, I do.
Okay. But you know, like the definition of love bombing has to involve intent and manipulation.
People don't.
I would keep it real right now. I do not think Jeremiah love bombed Huda. I'm sorry. I do not see it. Huda claims that she feels like Jeremiah did. Jeremiah claps back and basically is like, well, okay, but there were multiple times where I asked you if I was doing too much and if I should fall back. Not gonna hold you. That sounds like it disproves love bombing right then and right there. Ace then chimes in and tries to say, well, I don't know though. You were making all of these comments where you basically told me if a new bombshell comes in, just tell her you love her. And then that way you'll have her locked in for life. And while that is icky guy humor that I don't particularly find funny, I do think that, first off, I don't know why Ace... I don't know what Ace's vendetta is against Jeremiah. The two of them actually go back at it a little bit more, though Ace does actually admit at the end that he still feels like he should have kept Jeremiah around and sent home Austin. But they go back at it again, as I said. Ace is like, look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't get how I can be the ringleader of so many grown men. I do think that some of your behavior can be interpreted as love bombing. I don't know what it is with these two, but they continue to go on and on and on. But I guess in the end, Ace's form of an apology was saying that he should have kept Jeremiah in the house. We have a short segment about Amaya's interview with Alex Cooper, where apparently she was making fun of Ace's height. Ace pretends that he's so hurt and he's so upset. I think this is where the fake cries come out. But anyway, Amaya apologizes and essentially says that she has been trying to get her team to get all of those TikToks taken down, and that she had no idea that Alex Cooper was going to clip that TikTok up and make it happen the way it happens. Then we jump into Hurricane Huda and her friendship with Shelly and her friendship with Halandria and the racism of it all.
Exiting the villa, once we got our phones back, I saw the amount of hate that I was getting from her stands, and I expressed to Huda, hey, I really feel like it's important.
So basically for Huda, she claims that after the challenge, that big challenge where Huda got called out or whatever, she didn't really feel like she could lean on anybody at that point anymore. So Andy asked, but wait, I thought you and Alandria were friends, so I don't understand what happened. Alandria does chime in and say that she and Huda were friends, and she felt like they were friends in the house, but then she gets out of the house and she sees all of these podcasts Huda has been on, all of the different things that have been going on online, and the fact that there was nothing that Huda was saying about it. Apparently, she, Shelly, and Huda talked in an Airbnb about the situation, and Huda essentially promised that she was going to put something up to get her stands to stop it, and it still has not happened. And it wasn't the fact that it was just hate. Alandria was really, really, really clear about the fact that it was racism. There was even a point where she said that her face was plastered on George Floyd's body.
And the bullying towards me and Shelly, since that was spewed out the most. That hurt, Huda.
I was getting hated on as well, racially.
I get that, but your face was not plastered on fucking George Floyd's body.
Which is sick. I did not see that, which is sick. And I really, 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 really want to take a second to talk about this, because I do think that, again, as a Black woman, the feeling you feel inside when you see all of these people dogpiling on you for no reason, all of these people that are so harsh, that are so hurtful. Remind you, this is about a TV show. This is about a television show. This is not about anything of substance. And even still, that doesn't warrant racism. That does not warrant hate. But these people, Huda's deranged stance, and as I said, I saw this today. I was on TikTok. I looked through Alandria's comments. It was all Huda stance. And the fact of the matter that Huda could not even take her little fingers to open her phone and put up a comment telling her fans to relax is crazy. Huda tries to claim that so much went on, that she was not able to do it. Then she switches up the tune and claims that on podcast she said that she and Alandria have always been close. Shelly chimes in and says, I'll be honest, I didn't even know I was one of your bullies. She doesn't touch on that, but she touches on the fact that on the podcast, she always said she loved Alandria. She doesn't understand why Alandria feels like she's one of the people that Huda had an issue with. And Alandria's like, because they're in my comments. Like, it doesn't matter. People are assuming that it's me. And in either event, I found it very interesting that, okay, because you're cool with Alandria, then this was not meant towards you anyway. At no point does Huda say that shouldn't happen. At no point does Huda say that's disgusting. My fans have been doing too much and I don't condone that, support that, or agree with them. No, she doesn't say any of that. Huda this entire season has been going around terrorizing, lying, saying all kinds of crazy stuff, having literal abusive behavior throughout the season, whether you guys want to admit it or not. But yet, Alandria and Shelly can be slammed with racism And y'all weirdos are still on the internet like, I think that Shelly was actually in the wrong. Yo, I think Olandria was in the wrong. Like, something is mentally wrong with some of y'all people. It's not even funny because I was astonished. I was astonished. And it's the sheer fact that Huda still hasn't put a thing up. But this is y'all queen, I guess. That's sickening and scary and something that I want zero to do with. So in the end, they talk about their friendship a little bit, and Andy asks if the three of them will ever be friends, and Shelly straight up says no. Shelly's like, I'll be honest, I do not think that me and Huda can be friends. I think that the things that have happened, I don't trust her, and that is not a person that I can have in my life. No hard feelings. We are not friends. For Alandria, she did think they were friends, but after everything that happened, at this point, she just cannot trust her. And again, Shelly and Alandria, my girls, like, don't ever be friends with someone like Huda. Don't look at her. And we know Shelly and Alandria have unfollowed Huda since. They don't talk to her, and as it should be. Last little part that I want to touch on in this reunion is the heart rate challenge. We do get an extended video. We know that Huda was licking private parts. She was twerking. She was doing a lot. Huda's defense, as usual, is there was no boundaries. So I don't understand what the problem is. Shelly's like, well, going in line with the fact that you claimed that we were friends and all of this, then even though there were not boundaries, if we were friends, you should have known, hey, this is someone that my friend likes. As far as I know, you never liked Days. So there should be no reason that you would want to do that naturally. So again, you claim we're friends. I would expect that you would have more respect for me in that situation than anything. Now, Huda tries to claim that the whole night she was clapping and she was laughing for everyone and she didn't care. And even Chris chimes in at one point and is like, yeah, but there's a difference between like clapping and dancing versus licking private parts. But okay. And that's it. After that, they show a little compilation of all of their experiences throughout the season. And I feel like after all that tension, I'm like, why are we showing where's the happy memories? There ain't no happy memories. But that's it. And as I said, we learned that Love Island Games is coming in 3 weeks. So if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in whatever my next content is that you guys are interested in. Check out my Big Brother content if you like Big Brother, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!